Cop pulls over elderly man for speeding, regrets it when he discovers this. We've all received a traffic ticket at one time or another. It's something that happens every day and for all kinds of reasons. There's nothing to be ashamed of, as it can happen to all of us, and there are many serious offenses. What doesn't happen every day, and much less when a policeman's not issuing a fine, is that we receive a pleasant surprise that makes our day in the most unexpected way. Kevin Coates was a husband, family man, and an experienced police officer with the Sterling Heights, Michigan Police Department, known by all for his excellent work protecting the streets and his citizens, but most of all for his kindness and the warmth with which he treated everyone. Coates had been a police officer for more than 15 years, and in his long career patrolling the streets of Michigan, he had to deal with all kinds of problems: petty theft and armed robberies, dangerous car chases, and even helped solve several murder cases. Fortunately, in none of these cases did he come to any harm, earning him the recognition and respect of all his peers and superiors in the department. However, the greatest recognition he would receive in his career, and which would end up touching hundreds of people, would not be for catching a dangerous criminal nor for saving the life of an innocent person, but for a touching event that took place while Coates was on a night patrol, and in which the agent would demonstrate once again the immense generosity that was in his heart. Therefore, the department had offered Coates a promotion on numerous occasions, but the agent always ended up turning down the offer. "Are you sure you don't want to become a captain? Anyone in your position would accept without hesitation. You'd have better salary conditions, not to mention the respect and recognition that comes with a position." One of his patrol partners, Charlie, with whom he'd been working for more than 5 years, asked him on an occasion. However, despite the insistence of his colleagues and superiors, Coates' response was always the same. "I became a policeman to help others, not to be the star of the story. I've never liked being the center of attention, you know that, and luckily my wife and I have enough resources to support our little family. My only goal is to help others in any way I can, and that's something I can do perfectly well in my current job," Coates answered frankly. What the agent could not have imagined was that precisely because he was doing his duty and being a good person, he would become the center of attention and the most famous man in town for a few weeks. It all happened during a winter night while Coates was on his normal night patrol. During most of these night patrols, nothing important happened except for some exceptional case in which he received a radio warning of an emergency, and that day didn't seem to be any different. It was very cold. It was almost 11 o'clock at night and the thermometer was barely 5 degrees in the street, which meant that there were hardly any people walking down the street and traffic was fluid. Absolute silence filled the streets, and Coates was beginning to feel that night, as on many others, staying home with his wife would have been a much better plan. Until suddenly the silence was broken when a red car sped past him. "Sure, it's just a kid who got his driver's license and wants to show off his car to his friends. I'm sick of him," muttered the indignant policeman as he began to chase the vehicle. Coates quickly sprang into action and accelerated as fast as he could to catch up with the car before he lost track of it. It took him no more than 5 minutes to reach it, but what he found when he stopped the vehicle and detained its driver was not what he expected, far from it. "Stop and get out of your vehicle. Don't make any funny moves and keep your hands where I can see them," Coates announced from the police car. The driver of the vehicle obeyed the orders without resistance. He stopped the vehicle's engine and got out of the car with his hands up. As he did so, Kevin Coates realized that he hadn't stopped a drunken teenager trying to impress someone with his car. He had stopped a 79-year-old man who looked like he was having one of the worst days of his life. "Please don't take me to prison. I'm a good man, sir. I can explain it to you. Sir, please have mercy," the man began to say, very upset, when Coates came to him to take his details and inform him of the infraction he committed. Kevin was used to giving traffic tickets for speeding. He'd given so many in his career he'd already lost count, and he knew perfectly well what the protocol to follow was. However, that day everything was different, and instead of following the rules, the policeman let his instinct guide him and listened to what the man wanted to tell him. "Take it easy, sir. No one's gonna take you to jail, okay? I just want you to calm down and explain to me why you were speeding. You were going over 100 on a road where you can't go over 60. Can you explain it to me, please?" The policeman said calmly, trying to calm the driver down too, who was very nervous and kept rubbing his hands together. "My name's David and everything's going wrong. In fact, I don't think I've ever felt more lost in my entire life," he said while holding back tears. David went on to explain that his wife was in poor health and his adult son is mentally ill. The man was very upset because he'd bought a new television for his wife but was having trouble installing it. Coates felt very sorry for the man. He knew perfectly well how difficult it could be to stay calm when the well-being of those we love the most is at stake. He knew it because when he was little, his mother was very sick, and although he was only an 8-year-old boy when she died, Coates remembers the pain he had from not being able to help his mother and make her feel better. It was clear that the old man was not a criminal, and that probably he'd be the last one to bend the rules and drive that way. "I was trying to drive well, I'm sorry. I lost control for a moment and suddenly you're already there behind with the lights on. David continued to explain to the agent. I bought a new TV because I wanted to make my wife happy, and I can't connect it. Lately, nothing manages to cheer her up, and I thought that putting a TV in the room would make her smile. She loves movies, above all musicals, but I'm useless and can't even make a television work. The man lamented, putting his hands to his face as he began to cry. Seeing the poor man cry broke the policeman's heart. Please, sir, calm down. You're not useless for trying to take care of your family. You're simply tired and need help. We all need it at some point. Don't be ashamed of it. I'm not an expert in technology either, In fact, I think my 7-year-old daughter's much smarter than me, and soon she'll be the one who'll teach me how to work the phone, Coates explained to David in a friendly tone. He was trying to make the man stop crying and relax, and it seemed that he was getting it. David wiped his tears and stared into the policeman's eyes. Looking at him so closely, Coates could see the dark circles he had and the sadness that his gaze was hiding. After that, it was impossible for him to find him and decided to completely change his plans. How much is the fine gonna cost, sir? $100? David asked quickly, worried about the amount of money. I'm not gonna fine you today, David. Don't worry, okay? Don't think about that now. You have more important things to think about, Coates replied, trying to encourage him and make him forget what happened. Finally, Coates let David go with only a warning and told him he'd return later to help him install the TV. Hearing him say that he would not fine him and that he was gonna help him, David gave him a big hug and began to sob. You're a great man. You don't know how much I appreciate what you're doing for me. Thank you, the man told him in tears. About an hour later, Coates and 2 other Sterling Heights agents, Remy Verhofstadt and Jeremy Jaushevich, arrived at David's home to help him install the television and explain how to operate it. Apparently, the connection cable was misplaced and the TV needed an update to install the applications required for watching movies in series. Fixed? From now on, his wife will be able to enjoy the best movies from the comfort of her bed, announced one of the agents, very happy to have managed to fix the television and help that man's family. David was very happy and tried to invite the agents to have a drink as a sign of gratitude. However, the police had to refuse the invitation because they had to continue with their work and couldn't entertain themselves more. You're real heroes. I'd always thought the police were only used to impose fines and carry out large operations against thieves, but today they've shown me that this is not the case and citizens can count on you for what we need. Whatever it is, thank you, David told them, deeply grateful for the help they'd offered him. What no one was counting on is that just a couple of days later, a video would appear on the internet in which Agent Kevin Coates was seen hugging David and in which you could hear all the conversation they had that night in the middle of the road. Social networks burned and the video went viral in a week, praising the policeman for his compassion and for the way he heard a man who was having a hard time and who had a very bad day. Coates quickly became a little star and everyone wanted to congratulate him on what he did. The success of the video was so great that a few days after coming to light, Lieutenant Mario Bastianelli wanted to publicly praise Coates and the other 2 agents for their excellent work. I think the world needs more acts of kindness like this. It's been a great demonstration of many of the things that law enforcement do every day throughout the country and that are not publicized, Bastianelli told Fox News. We're very proud of our agents for getting out of the norm and going beyond what they normally do to help our citizens. After a few weeks, everything calmed down and the Michigan Police Department returned to normal. However, to David, what Officer Coates did for him and his family that night meant a lot, and he wanted to thank him in a special way by treating him and his family to dinner. From that moment on, the police officer and the nearly 80-year-old would forge a beautiful friendship, giving us all a precious lesson in friendship and generosity that we should never forget. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.